You are about to experience the Skip Bayless Show, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Speaking of Belichick, I haven't said much about Gregg Popovich, who has always reminded me of Bill Belichick. I am happy Pop's health seems to be improving, and I'm very happy that he'll transition out of full-time coaching into taking over as president of basketball operations, which will allow him at age 76 to run the organization without the grueling travel demands of 41 road games a season. Good for Pop. But as I've made clear many times over the years, as big a Spurs fan as I was during the Duncan Parker Ginobili glory days, I was just never a Pop guy. To me, Pop was almost as much a product of Tim Duncan as Belichick was of Brady. And never forget this, GM R.C. Buford, who was the best in the business for many years, R.C. all-time stole 3 other players in the draft who helped make Pop. Tony Parker, 28th overall. Manu Ginobili, 57th overall. Second to last pick, second round. And Kawhi Leonard, 15th overall. It's just ridiculous what RC pulled off. Okay, here's the point. Since Tim Duncan retired 2016, the Spurs have had the 3rd West record in the West, just ahead of the Kings and the Pelicans. And since Manu and Tony retired in 2018, the San Antonio Spurs have had the worst record in the entire Western Conference. The Spurs haven't won a playoff series since 2017. And now they've missed the playoffs 6 straight seasons. So from 1999 to 2018, I was as big a Spurs fan as anyone in San Antonio was. I actually started falling in love with the Spurs during the Iceman Gervin years. That was before Dallas even had an NBA team. But from the start, I tried and I failed to love Popovich, in largest part because I was a member of the media. And I was ashamed of my media brothers and sisters for letting him get away with constantly bullying media members who ask legitimate questions in press conferences. As the Spurs began to win, the media actually began to portray Popovich as a lovable grump. What? I thought the winning was just going to his head. He was a monster created. Lovable? No, he wasn't. He was exactly the kind of bully he always blasted Trump for being. At least Bill Belichick avoided answering legitimate questions by giving these terse little non-answers. Gregg Popovich avoided those questions by shaming and insulting and belittling the questioner. His was a bully pulpit. That was lovable? Not to me. And then there were Coach Pop's between quarters interviews on live national TV that were celebrated because that's just the way good old Pop is. And fans just believed what they were told. Instead, the truth about most of those between quarters national TV interviews was that Gregg Popovich condescendingly humiliated men and women who were just trying to do their job and ask reasonable, fairly tame questions that could have been honestly answered without giving away any team secrets. A lot of fans find those in-game coaches interviews enlightening and entertaining, It's very possible those interviews help grow the TV audience. Isn't that the ultimate name of the game? I don't know. I guess you can argue that fans got to the point they were on the edge of their seats waiting to see and hear how Pop was going to chew up and spit out the poor interviewer who drew the short straw and got the assignment this time. But man, I could only cringe and hang my head when Pop went bully on national TV. I found his behavior disgusting, not worthy of an NBA head coach. And I often said so publicly, as much as I did love Pop's Spurs. I often believed that Tim Duncan, like Tom Brady, kept those Spur locker rooms together in spite of Pop's verbal abuse. I always thought Pop was a good coach who got away with ruling those teams with an old school militaristic iron fist, because Duncan and in turn Parker and in turn Ginobili bought into him and defended him in mutinous locker rooms. Would Popovich have gotten away with this behavior if he hadn't had Tim Duncan, one of the great leaders in the history of sports? No. Would Coach Pop have become an all-time great coach without Timmy? Nope. Did he start getting exposed once Duncan and then Parker and Ginobili were gone? Yes, he did. My friend Steven Jackson was the first talented Spur to stand up to Popovich, who quickly ran him off. You could hear the story my last week's Skip One-on-One with Steven. Then when Kawhi called bullshit on Pop, it appeared once again Popovich was saying, no player is bigger than I am, even this player. And Kawhi just shut it down and waited to be traded. As a diehard Spurs fan, that tore me apart, and I initially did blame Kawhi, but I've come to blame Popovich more. Of course, all Kawhi did was go win another championship in Toronto. Way to go, Pop. Even now, I am stunned at what a beloved favorite Popovich remains among the media members he bullied for years and years. I just don't get it. Just look at the Spurs records the last 6 years. For that matter, just look at how they went 22-60 in 2023. Then they hit the lottery. They landed Wemby. Then with Wemby the next year, they again went 22-60. What? How could you again lose 60 games with Victor Wembanyama going for 21 points and 11 rebounds and 4 assists every night with 4 blocks? He just destroyed the league in the blocks race. Just destroyed it. Coaching anyone? I guess now Gregg Popovich is beyond questioning, beyond reproach. I think he's lucky he wasn't working for Robert Kraft, but I assume some people consider him, I don't know, the greatest NBA coach ever. I'm sure some do. Whew. Man, do I ever miss Tim and Tony and Manu.